Kevin Allen Jackson. On behalf of my co-hosts Isaac Simpson and Maria Perry, I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Short on Shorts. Our special guest reviewer this week is actress Naomi Grossman, best known as Pepper on American Horror Story. And the final film we reviewed was I Drought, directed by Anthony Sherritt. Make sure to check it out before watching our review. The link is below. Enjoy the movie and our review.
Final film is I Drought, which is Naomi's pick. It was written and directed by Anthony Sherritt, and it's starring Eve Segal, Chris Bonanno, and Peter Paul Shaker. One of the really funny things about reviewing these short films is you get to see all these weird actor names that people have. We had Rose Glass, who was a filmmaker, which has to be a pun, but apparently is her real name. We've had a couple other weird ones. We had one whose name was Durag, which just to me is the funniest thing in the world because she was like a hipster named Durag. Like, I don't know, I really laugh at that. But Peter Paul is probably the best one we've had. Peter Paul and Mary.
Yeah, it would be even, if his last name was Paul and Mary, that would be very funny.
Anyway, it's a film about a woman who hoards water in a post-apocalyptic world where water is scarce. We do a lot of post-apocalyptic films on this show just because I think they're very in right now. Naomi, why did you choose this movie?
Oh, I'm reluctant to tell you because then you're gonna change your commentary accordingly. Maybe not.
Tell us why.
Well, it's my boyfriend's. But here, you guys, I'm not in this world. You know, I don't watch shorts much anymore. So, and I figured if anything.
But now you're going to start watching shorts more often.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Let's keep this. Normally we would cut this, but actually let's keep it in this case because I think transparency's good.
Yeah, why not?
She picked her boyfriend short. We told her not to do that, but she did.
No, you didn't
fine.
say that. You said beware if it's someone you know. Just make sure that people are prepared to take it.
That's true.
And he's prepared to take it.
All right.
Yeah. We did have that issue once.
So let's shit on her boyfriend. Let's do it.
Why are you shitting on her boyfriend? Is that also gay?
That's a two-hander.
Oh boy.
It's a two-hander bro job.
Between Squash and Radiohead and shitting on my boyfriend.
Squash and Radiohead are not gay.
Look,
neither of those things are
shitting on my
gay.
boyfriend.
I just want to say that I was just at an Idina Menzel concert and she sang "Creep." So
it's starting to be
it's-
gay.
it's-
Maybe it
God
is.
damn it.
Maybe.
that covers
I can't
show
listen to
tunes
Creep
then.
anymore?
I'm sorry.
Wow.
No, but you should,
That's not fun.
I'm just answering your question.
All right.
No,
Why
it's
did
a
I
good,
choose
it's a
it?
good,
Because-
honest answer. That's
And
great.
you know,
That's fine,
frankly,
it's
he would like to. He'd like criticism. You know, he'd like to
All
hear
right,
what people
well, let's
think.
criticize this shit. I think, actually, to be honest, I actually really like this short. And not only did he just make this short, but he made it pursuant to a 2-week collaboration challenge. So he only had 2 weeks to make this movie from beginning to end, right?
Right.
So pretty damn good for a movie that's made in 2 weeks. And some really interesting concepts. There's a lot of moral ambiguity here. You know, we can't quite tell who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. Is the people trying to rob the woman stealing water? Are they the good guys? Or is the woman hoarding the water? Does she have a right to do that? In the beginning, there's an Adlai Stevenson quote that says, "A free society is a society where it is safe to be unpopular." How did that bear on this film at all?
A free society.
Yeah, that is how it starts.
Like, what is that? What is he trying to say?
Clearly, she's not very popular with her neighbors. It starts out with a woman at the door pounding on the door saying, "Hey, I need water.
Right.
My baby is dying." And she goes, "No, I can't help you," and closes the door in her face. And people know enough about this woman to know that they should rob her, which kind of implies that she's shown some sign of having something and know that they should come to her door and know that they should rob her. So she's kind of already unpopular. She's already, for some reason, these people know to come to her.
Right.
So I would say it's not safe for her to be unpopular in this society. So I guess that makes sense.
Wow, so I think you're right. I think he's on her side. And I saw an internet comment by him. Somebody criticized on the or not said great film, fuck that greedy bitch or something on Vimeo, and he responded, actually, I don't think it's greed. It's more about trying to hold on to power in the face of feeling powerless.
Right.
Which I think is actually smart. But to be fair, I also grew up in this family where my dad is constantly prepared for everything. And I remember hearing all the time when I was growing up, like, you can't leave the garage door open without closing the, we had pantries in the garage that were stocked with food all the time. And so we had like 3 months worth of food in storage. And so we could not open the garage door without closing those pantries because he didn't want any of the neighbors to know we had this food stock in case anything went wrong. My parents are a little weird. But because of growing up with that mentality, this woman having this hoard of water was just like, oh, I'm sure everyone has that. And then kind of as the show went on, it was like, no, not everyone has that. Oh, I see. Okay, well.
But you deep down knew all the other neighbors didn't have months of food in their
Well,
garage.
yeah, otherwise it would be okay to show the fact that you
Right.
did.
It's Nevada. I think they all have. It's like, like
Well, to be fair-
Doomsday Prepper Central.
Yeah, it's a weird place.
Yeah. So is he a sort of greed is good kind of guy?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No.
He just wanted to explore.
You know, I don't know. I need to have this
Yeah,
conversation.
but see, that's the thing, is that he said in that comment that it wasn't about greed, right? That it was about trying to hold on to power in the face of feeling powerless. And that's a different thing than greed. It can take the form of greed. It can be perceived that way, but it's a very different thing. And I think, if you look at it in that light, then the movie is sort of an allegory for so many problems in our society.
Yeah.
I mean, you could insert so many different things into the water.
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think so too.
And it would be apropos, right? And I think, the one that comes to my head immediately is that is, you get the feeling that that's why a lot of people who have immense amount of wealth hold on to their wealth so tightly, because it's this fear that if I give it away or if I don't have it anymore, I'm somehow gonna lose power, right? I'm gonna feel powerless, or you know what I'm saying? And
And you will, but what's so interesting about her is that she doesn't even use it for herself. So it's like she doesn't even drink the water on her own. She's just keeping it there as this this is my totem of power, and I'm not going to touch it.
But that's
which
what I
is
think.
so interesting.
People who have lots of anything do that. Whether it's
exactly.
water or money or
Yeah.
guns or whatever the thing is. I have an uncle who has a chest full of guns that he must have 100 guns in this chest, and he maybe uses one of them. He goes out and he hunts with a shotgun, right? But the rest he just has for whatever reason.
And he just
has.
likes having it there. Yeah, it's interesting.
I
It's
do
such an
that with
interesting short.
wigs.
Wigs. There you go.
I have so many, but I rarely ever wear them.
I have that problem too, actually.
Or some people have it with shoes, or some people have it with clothes in general, or again, like I said, there are so many things that you could insert into the place of water.
I don't hoard anything. Do you hoard something?
Well, I don't, but I see lots of people who do.
But Isaac, you hoard your followers, like your Instagram followers and your Twitter followers. I feel like that's the thing that you really reach out for. Like, that's your power structure, is the people you can influence.
I think we all have.
It's very deft.
We
a little
all-
too deft, I think, for the moment.
No, we all have that thing,
Yeah.
right? We all have that thing that we hold on to, that we hoard. And it doesn't have to be an actual physical object. It could be something like followers on the internet, or I don't know, or something else that's not an actual physical thing.
But I think ultimately, she's punished for her greed in the end anyway.
Right.
So whether or not he's pro greed or not, I think ultimately, she gets what.
Right.
She
Well,
gets
this is the
it.
thing about greed, right? Is that greed is real, and this is something, we're getting really deep here, but this is something about America in general, is that, greed is real, but so is jealousy. And I think in America we like to say greed is good, greed is natural. But jealousy that's not something you should have.
Well, yeah,
but in
don't
fact,
covet your neighbor's
both
wife,
of
right?
them are sins, and they both exist equally. And if you're going to be realistic about greed, you have to be realistic about jealousy also.
Do you really
and
think
ultimately,
that it's an American thing?
ultimately, people, if you take too much, they're going to be jealous of you, and they're going to come take your shit. And if you don't know how to manage that, you're going to get taken down, you know? And I think that's what, I mean, the short is really fascinating because it really handles those principles together, you know?
And I would say, you know, I mean, what's particularly commendable about this short is what's been going on here, right? That it's about something and it's
Very
sparking,
high-minded,
it's
yeah.
sparking a conversation, right? It's good enough and it touched enough of a nerve for all of us that we're having this conversation. And I do agree with what you said in the beginning, that the fact that he made this in 2 weeks is pretty fantastic.
What do we think about it from a technical standpoint?
Well, no, I think, you know, I mean, I saw, you know, my habit of not reading anything about the film before I watched the film, but I did in this case, for whatever reason, glance down. And so I saw that it was it was part of a competition or something like that. And that always takes my expectations down a notch. So from a technical standpoint, I thought it was fine. I mean, it's interesting you said the thing about the casting in the last piece, because if I had any criticism of this, any serious criticism, that's what it was, is that the two guys felt like, they didn't feel to me like guys who were caught in this post-apocalyptic world where something as basic as water was so scarce. They felt a little bit too, I don't know, well-groomed, put together, whatever. They felt like two dudes that, you know, are actors in Hollywood who got cast in this. That would be my only criticism of this.
I kind of felt the same way. I think, as opposed to casting, I thought that was just a matter of makeup. They just looked like they'd been scruffed up kind of perfect, just a little too perfectly, you know, as opposed to like really living out there with the,
Absolutely. Yeah. But that would be my only criticism. I think, you know, I have to say actually that I've seen short movies that were half this length and probably filmed in twice as much time that didn't look as good as this. So I think he did a pretty good job.
You don't have to sugarcoat it.
No, I'm not sugarcoating it. I mean, I mean, could he have done a few things differently? Could there have been a little bit more contrast in the lighting? I mean, sure, he could have, but I think that it fit pretty well. And I mean, again, given the limitations of the project that he was dealing with, I think he did an exceptional job.
Yeah, I didn't love it visually, but you know, I loved what it had to say. So really, that's the thing that matters.
Thanks for watching. If you want more information about how Short on Shorts works or how you can submit your film for consideration, or if you want to watch more episodes of Short on Shorts, click on the link at the end of this video if you're watching on Facebook, or in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. See you next time.